Hello, lovely audience. Welcome back to the channel. Seth Estrada here, and I've got with me a special treat. I've got Erik Anderson, runs the Crypto and Coffee Clubhouse group. It is amazing if you haven't already checked it out. If you're on Clubhouse, you need to be over on Crypto and Coffee. But after talking to Erik about some of his experience as a GPU miner, I realized that I had to have him on my YouTube channel talking about the various opportunities for creating passive income, being actively involved in income generation and in yield, and his whole crypto journey, starting with the king daddy, right? Bitcoin, which is what we all got exposure to early in the day. Back in the day, there was nothing else, maybe a couple of alts that were not really significant. Erik, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much, Seth, for having me. I'm excited to talk about the mining operation, crypto and coffee, and even my favorite topic, passive income.
Nice. Well, let's start from the very beginning. What kind of work did you do before getting involved in cryptocurrencies? When you first discovered Bitcoin, or I guess maybe you could think of it as when it discovered you, as somebody who was ready to be onboarded. What was happening in your life? What prepared you to say, yeah, this makes sense, I'm going to jump in?
Well, the first time I heard about Bitcoin, I was working as a network engineer for a global ISP in Denver, Colorado. And a guy just came by my desk and he was like, "Hey, Erik, what do you think about Bitcoin?" I kind of just looked at him and I was like, "What's the difference between that and PayPal? It's just, a way to send money over the internet, like whatever." And I just shrugged him off. That was like 2013. It was a big mistake, or it was right around the time of like all the madness. Nobody knows for sure. I can't pinpoint the exact date and time, but it wasn't until later when I moved to Georgia and I had a friend, mutual friend in this motorcycle club I was in, and we were out to dinner or something, and he was like, "Man, he's talked to me about crypto before or whatnot." And I was like, yeah, whatever. But something about that night when he was like, "Dude, you really got to look into Ethereum," and the way he kind of just briefly described it to me, it like every like nerve in my body just said, "Go home and look into this." It was one of those nights, man. I think I went home that night and I downloaded the miner on my computer and it like started mining, and I got the coins and I set up an exchange and I sent the coins over there and I exchanged it for real money. I knew it was real. Like that was the, the tipping point right there, that I knew I was into something special, right?
That's awesome. So it sounds like your onboarding was pretty quick, and not long after you having that light bulb moment, you were able to validate that by going and having an experience instead of having an explanation given to you.
Right. I'm definitely a hands-on type of guy for sure. I had to see it work and I had to extract the value and then like see it turn to real dollars before it became real.
That's awesome. Okay, so fast forward a little while after that. You saw it sort of be validated and become a reality in your mind, where you were able to say like, all right, I got started over here. I did the mining. I was able to go to exchange. It turned into US dollars. I was able to spend those dollars. What came next?
Okay, so I think I got on like eBay and I just started trying to find some graphics cards to like ramp up everything. And I bought a little shelf and some angled metal, and I kind of put together a prototype of 4 rigs, each having like 5 or 6 graphics cards of just, cheap stuff I could just grab off the internet. And I started mining with all of that in my little 600 square foot apartment. I mean, it's hot in here. It was like 120 degrees, but I'm cranking out real dollars. I'm suffering, but I was like, this is the real deal. And I was like, you know what? I have to raise money and I have to get this into a warehouse like ASAP. And I think that it was literally 2 weeks later, I raised $100,000 and we had a warehouse selected and we were like setting up a full-on operation.
Wow. Okay. So then it went beyond you just having validation. You like gained some serious conviction to the level that you were able to go and communicate that to other people and close them and like take a check from them. That's huge.
I know. I mean, I think you know how the maxis are these days, and they're just like, sell your house, sell your kids, sell your chairs, whatever, right? That's how I felt in 2014, just going, guys, this is going to be everything. And we have to move fast. Like, I was like, dude, this thing's going to go to $50.
We were
I
so
remember
innocent.
Ethereum being 88 cents when I bought it, right? I was like, it could go to $50. We have to act fast. We have to raise the money. We have to get everything, built and printing before everybody catches on to this.
Sure. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. It's before we get shut down. Quick, Uncle Sam doesn't know it should be illegal yet.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Hey, and for the record, guys, anybody who's watching and is wondering, like, hey, Seth, what do you mean it should be illegal? These are the jokes, guys. But let me run the disclaimer anyway. I've got a little title card that'll tell you what to do. You guys have to do your own research. Obviously, none of this is financial, legal, business, or self-defense advice. I don't know what you came here looking for, but we're not going to tell you exactly how to do it. You got to go hire an advisor or a consultant, pay them a consulting fee, and enter into some kind of a binding contract with them in order to, air quotes, take advice. This isn't it. We're just talking here. So yeah, don't get it twisted. But yeah, Isn't that sad? That's the world we live in, where I have to disclaim a joke. I've got to explain the joke and then run a disclaimer.
That's bad.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's YouTube, right? So whatever. It's part of the territory. Comes with the territory.
So covered. We do that all the time on Clubhouse. We always have to say not investment advice, not legal advice. So
yeah. It's funny because I get the reply guys who are like, "Well, you just said this thing, so obviously that's advice, and it has to do with this field. So obviously it's advice of this type." It's like, nah, man, no. I promise you, if I've signed an NDA to cover your business interests, then I'm probably giving you advice after that point. Probably. If I haven't signed an NDA between you and me, not advice. And had some kind of an additional contract between us. At any rate, people get confused though. So anyhow, you scale this thing up. You get 6 figures of investment capital from, sounds like friends, family, closer associates, people who you trust, and they trust you. So they know you're not going to fly by night. Be like, thanks for the 100,000 suckers. I'm gonna go buy some Ethereum and go and retire to the Bahamas, whatever. So you set up this mining operation. I think I have some photos that you sent me from Telegram. Let me see if I can get these pulled up in a sharing window between us. So try to share.
Yeah, you got to see pretty far into the mining operation. When we were first setting it up, I think we only had 4 racks, 4 miners in each of them. So this is way down the line, scaling the operation at the time. But that was our basic premise, just 1 rack and 1 rig on each shelf, and then I think 6 graphics cards per rig.
Got it. Okay, yeah, and this you can see this is coming through all right, the screen share there?
Yep.
Awesome. So it looks like this is the first in the series that you sent over. I mean, this is pretty typical rig building. Now I'm noticing that you've got at that point, so you've already got the so pathetic, the more advanced riser style. So when I've got a brother that was involved in GPU mining back in the day, in mining Litecoin actually before Ethereum launched, and so we still had I've still got them in my kit here as part of the family, right? The family collection. Got a bunch of riser ribbons, right? The style that gamers use for building out really high performance, full 16x lanes of connectivity to the GPU all the way to the motherboard, get all that bandwidth. And but it looks like you were already stepped well ahead of that. USB risers there, the 6 cards at least minimum. It looks like maybe did you already have a couple here that were 7 or 8?
We might have tried that a few times. I think for sure though that at least 6 at the minimum.
Got it. It looks gorgeous in part because also you got that color theme. You clearly went in on a model that you could get a lot of. Do you remember roughly which model these were?
The MSI 560, 570, 580. Maybe we got to 590s, I think.
Wow. Okay, got it. Well, the 590s were kind of an oddball experiment that came afterwards. The 590s, I think, were something that they launched in 2018 or 2019.
Okay, we might not got that far because it was definitely the 580s, and maybe we experimented with another rack, maybe late, because by the end of 2018, we started tearing it all down. So.
Okay, got it. That's a bummer. Yeah, end of 2018 was just depressing, though. I've got to be real talk for miners. The end of 2018, right after Halloween, right, where we saw the 10-year anniversary of the Satoshi white paper. And then within 24 hours, right, everything falls off a cliff. That was super depressing for everybody, I know. But okay, so cool. Man, you got some great shots here too. That custom conduit there, or was that custom run by you?
We paid a lot. I paid a lot of money for an electrician to come out and run all the electrical outlets so we could pass the inspection and have all that done right. When the fire marshal came and stuff, he just thought he didn't really realize what we were doing. So he didn't think there'd be heat and all that stuff in there. So we kind of snuck through the radar there, but we at least did the electricity right. But definitely sunk about 20 grand into just getting all the electricals.
Wow! Oh my gosh! So roughly 20% of the initial investment then went into just infrastructure upgrades. Yikes!
Yep, it was crazy.
Yeah. Well, hey, I guess that's an important point, to make to the audience is most people just think I've got $100,000 to spend on air quotes mining equipment, so I'm just going to throw $100,000 at an ASIC farm or just the GPUs without motherboards or power supplies or anything else. This is it's a wake up call.
Yeah, at this warehouse, it only had 100 or a normal amp panel, right? 110 amp or whatever, right? Just very small. We actually had to call Georgia Power to come in and give us the 1,500 amps that we wanted, and they had to dig a whole new line in there, and that's what kind of delayed the process. And then I had the electricians put in these big amp panels. So we put in 3 panels. I think were they 200 amp panels each? Yeah, I think that's what it was. So it was gave you 600 amps total, but we could expand it a little bit more, but we never tapped that. But I think we were pretty close to the tapped out of the 600 amp.
Got it. Yeah, it looks like you got quite a bit going, especially knowing now that those are probably the MSI RX 580s. So you were,
Yes.
if I had to guess, yeah, you're standardized to at your peak at that time, depending on whether or not you did really good VBIOS updates. You were running a minimum 28 mega hash per card, maybe 30, 32 if you were like
We were
rockstar level.
actually getting 36.
What?
On some of them. Yeah.
Okay, so you did go rockstar level on your overclock, your undervolts, your VBIOS updates, all your memory timings, getting your proper memory
there
strap.
was some good days. I mean, most average were like that 33 mega hash, but I mean, there was some that we could really squeeze to that 36. It just, we did the best we could. And, toward the end, we kind of got frustrated playing and tuning all the time. So sometimes we just accepted a little bit less.
Sure. Hey, I mean, consistency counts for something too when it comes to mining, right? Like having a card be like down for a day out of the week because of instability. Why not just average it out to a lower hash rate and keep it, give it 100 nearer to 100% uptime, right? Like
exactly.
Totally get it. Bit of a balance there. I'm seeing here also an Antminer D3. So were you mining Dash then?
We had a few of those and a few Litecoin miners and a few Bitcoin miners. So yeah, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash.
Got it. All right. And that just kind of came as was it part of a basket from some investors who were like, hey, we don't really want to do the Ethereum thing and we want something else? Or were you just kind of experimenting?
No, that was just, we had extra cash or whatever. So we just picked up extra ASIC miners just to kind of get into that space as well. Because obviously Ethereum brought me into the world, but as you dive into the world, then you were like, wait, there's other currencies. Let's experiment mining all of them. And, we just went down that path. And who doesn't love a little Dash coin?
Fair point. I mean, Dash, the run-up that it experienced during 2017 was inspiring for sure. Okay, so I'm getting this other view here of really great overhead view. Also, the PVC little cable runs right here, those were all entirely original. You did those, right?
Yeah, I put that in. Everything, this was just an empty warehouse. So we, put a rack in. I put in like high-end Juniper gear. I had a Juniper firewall, a Juniper switch, and then I had some, dumb, cheap, switches that were out there on the racks to kind of expand some things out. But I actually took it way too far because I'm a network engineer. So I had VLANs for racks.
Oh, I don't see what's wrong with it.
Overkill.
Yeah, personally, I don't see what's wrong with that, though. Here's the thing. So for a little operation that was a bit bigger than this, but not all that much bigger than what you've got running here, they were doing a separate VLAN per rack as well, just to make sure that they couldn't possibly get the entire farm owned in case there were bad actors, right? Like sniffing the traffic from the facility. So when you say that to me, it doesn't sound like overkill. Again, talking about like the most common problems when it comes to mid-scale mining and mid-scale growing into large-scale mining. It seems like having some of your hash rates stolen by bad actors is just one of those costs of doing business. So anything you can do to help firewall yourself against that, so to speak, it doesn't seem excessive to me.
Cool. I thought I was just overkill being a network engineer, but that's cool. Good reassurance that I was doing something good, that it wasn't overkill.
Well, and I'm convinced also that it probably smoothed out your hash rate across the entire farm. You didn't have weird fluctuations because of the way that you had segmented your traffic across different VLANs. If I had to guess, we're looking at your the report from your mind, because I've seen the before and after from the facility that I helped consult before they did that, and then after they did that, and it was like night and day. These crazy peaks and valleys in hash rate for the entire farm, and then it's like boom, plateau, solid, completely steady. They knew exactly how much Ethereum they were producing every 24 hours, no questions asked. And then there was a bit of a peak in the evenings as the temperature cooled down, because we're technically in high desert. So there's a time of day where airside economy gets you a lot more performance. That's true. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so here I see a little like mobile workstation here, mobile kiosk to check in, to plug into a KVM switch or whatever. Tell me about this. How did this go?
So basically, I found a cart and a battery backup, and the battery backup would power just a monitor, so you could just wheel it around and get to all your rigs, plug into your rig so you could see. We ran OS, so you'd have to see if it was all locked up or if you could recover it, or get in there and tweak some settings. So it was just a mobile little rig to just push around the thing, which made it really easy. I mean, we ended up having two toward the end, just because then you could have two people in there working on rigs at the same time. But it was just clever. And then when you were done, you just pushed it against the wall, plugged it back in, and the battery was charged, and you could do it again the next day.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, it makes so much more sense. I know a lot of facilities, at least at about this scale, will take the little 7-inch LED monitors and they'll set them off to the side of each rack, and so each rack has its own dedicated monitor, so to speak, with a little KVM switch at each one. It's like, now that I see you doing this with the, with this like some like KVM cart essentially, That makes so much more sense. Like instead of having whatever 16 monitors sitting around
That
collecting
adds up
dust and
fast. That's a
getting
lot
hot.
of money.
Yeah, right.
And using power and just more things you have to worry.
Yeah, for sure. Well, especially like if you got anything that was like, a nice monitor, 16 times whatever those cost, $150, like that's a lot. That's another rig or two of GPUs. So
Exactly.
cool. Well, that's awesome.
And in this picture, I don't know if you want to change it yet. You can see our exhaust fan. And I don't know if we have another good picture of that, but that was the exhaust fan. That was how we were creating the vacuum there and sucking the air through this whole operation.
Awesome. So it looks like a single belt driven large diameter fan there that did what, like probably rated it at 10,000 or 20,000 CFM.
Something right along there. I don't remember the exact details, but it's got to be close to something like that. I mean, it definitely created a vacuum in this.
Definitely did suck. All right. That's awesome, man. So I know some of the facilities that have either done walkthroughs in or assisted with have done this as well, and they've gotten them from Alibaba or wherever. Like, oh yeah, it's rated at 50,000 CFM, and we actually like try to figure out what the flow rate is for the room. It's like that's not 50,000 CFM. They lied. They wouldn't do that, would they? Chinese sellers on Alibaba, they wouldn't lie about their wares.
We didn't go cheap on that one. I found a local company that did warehouse ventilation, and I had them come out and inspect it. I said, I want the biggest thing that we could possibly fit in here that works on single phase because we didn't have access to three phase. So that was the biggest unit we could get. And so we just went with what we could. We thought about doing a second one later, but I don't know if it would have bought us too much. I think the one was more than enough for the warehouse size.
Got it. Man, that's awesome. So it sounds like then you were running everything here on 120 volt power. That's single phase.
Yes, right.
Man, that's crazy. Okay. I mean, it gets it done. Obviously, you got the job done. You didn't necessarily need 240 volt, but that's I wouldn't have expected that. I would have thought that at a warehouse that your electrician could have stepped down like 240 or 208 volt for you. That's interesting. Well, I mean, it just goes to show you there's no one right way to mine and get the job done doing all kinds of the parameters being adjusted there. This little knob coming out of the wall though, is that a security camera right there?
I did have a security camera right there. So we could see the back door and we saw the front door. And then we had one in the office. Right there.
Nice. Okay, we're kind of moving through some of this. Oh, yes, the shrine, the wall of boxes.
The wall of boxes. And I toward the end there, I think we had right about 1,000 GPUs.
That is impressive, sir. Bravo. Yeah, and especially in that size space, to get 1,000 GPUs to fit comfortably, only need the single exhaust fan, be functioning only with airside economy, not have to make any other changes, and still be on only single phase power. That's awesome. You guys, and again,
having
unique.
No outside influence. I mean, I didn't know how to get a hold of anybody. Everything was my own, design or my ideas, and we just kind of ran with it. I wish that there was better documentation. I could only imagine how like operations get done today with all the knowledge that's out there and all the trials and tribulations that people have went through.
Yeah, I've got to say that most of the mid-scale mining operations that are actually profitable, Erik, they tend to look about the same. Rational people who have some background in IT, any background, whether they come from networking, like professionally, like yourself, or they come from some kind of like systems administration or integrated systems where they've got a lot of hands-on with getting their hands dirty on system building or imaging fleets of laptops or desktops or whatever else, or just managing a server for their employer. I mean, I've seen dozens of photos of facilities this size. They wind up looking pretty similar. They don't all wind up doing the exact same thing that you did with the elbow, the angle aluminum pieces here, the aluminum brackets, but a lot of them do. And we talked about it before when I saw you sent over some photos of you guys doing the build out. You guys, so I don't want to give away the secret here, but I guessed it, right? How did you guys manage to quickly deploy all of the angle aluminum brackets there and quickly get GPUs hanging from them without having to go to a machine shop or something?
I basically had all my partners were like my workers, or at least I treated them like that. I don't know how they really appreciated that, but I put them to work. I was like, not only did you invest in this company, I need your sweat labor too. So I had teams of people sitting there drilling holes in the angled metal. One guy would drill all the holes for the tap to start the tap screws. And then one guy would drill the side ones to put them in there. And then a team of people would be running them out there to all the racks and screwing them in, and then somebody else would come in and put all the cards in. it was like a fine-tuned operation. I mean, if you would have saw these people, like you'd be like, man, are these guys professionals? But I just organized it well enough to just keep everything moving. And it still took a long time.
Oh, for sure. I believe that. Absolutely. But okay, so it sounds like just an assembly line with a bunch of willing volunteers who had skin in the game.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, so there's the wall. Here's the office. Aha! I'm gonna get to see this guy.
It didn't always look like that. It was like pretty crappy when we first got it. We put in the floor, we painted the walls. My fiance actually single-handedly drew that on the wall. Like she painted that on there freehand.
What?
It's a little crooked, but that's freehand right there. Like she did the logo freehand onto the wall. I mean, I'm still impressed to this day. I mean, that's why I had to have this picture because it's phenomenal.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was like, yeah, some kind of you guys got like a vinyl print or something or an applique or whatever, like from a sign shop. That's super cool. Okay, so the office time it looks like it was relatively comfortable to sit in there. Was there any kind of AC that you had run there, or was it just not hot was the thing?
We had an AC unit. It sat behind the desk there and it would just blow on you. And then the tube would exhaust the hot air up and really into the main warehouse.
Got it. Okay, man. And there's another angle of the mine with, is that
so
a different...
right there, if you can see, okay, yeah, that's the back wall. You could see all the electronic panels. I wasn't sure if that printed that.
Oh, yeah, I see them now. Yep, way back there with those drops in. And nice. And then clearly you had a few fans here in between some racks to make sure you got better airflow across the cards down below.
Yep. The closer you got to the exhaust fan, obviously it was pulling air more of above than below. So you had to do something to kind of move that air.
Got it. Huh. Okay, that makes sense. Hold on, I got a video here. I'm gonna go full screen if I can. There we go. Oh, so cool. I never get tired of seeing facilities like this, man. I seriously don't. That's just awesome. And come on, there we go. All right, man, that's so cool. So yeah, some of my fondest memories are being in a location that is like ear-splittingly loud and like hot beyond reason. Like,
that's exactly what that place was. Almost always 120 degrees and loud.
That's cool, but it got the job done, and you guys were running for, what was it, 3 years, 4 years total?
About 4 years.
Man, that is awesome. So,
I know. I think it could have still went on, but I just got tired of the business partners, and I just felt like I was carrying everybody, and nobody, like people just didn't want to put in the effort anymore. And I said, guys, we're in this bear market, it might not pan out anymore. How about we just tear it down, cut our losses? And everybody kind of just agreed and packed it up. I found some guy that just came in and picked up everything for pennies on the dollar. So my one recommendation for anybody wanting to do this, wait for that bear market, be that guy that wants to buy the equipment on pennies on the dollar, and be prepared for the next bull market.
Awesome. Words of wisdom right there. That's amazing. So from that time forward, clearly, clean break, obviously you don't have a lot of regrets there. You've just moved on, right? And you've done other things with your time and with your investments. And now my understanding is you have got, you've secured the Bitcoin bag, you've secured the Ethereum bag as much as you want to, and you're focused on other kinds of investments in the space. In a nutshell, what is Erik Anderson all about right now? Because this was never your identity, right? Like having a GPU mine. It's not now either. What are you just working on now, though, that like when people think, I know Erik Anderson, he's the guy that does.
Most people know me for my Crypto and Coffee brand that we do on Clubhouse. We run a show Monday through Friday, and we coined ourselves the Crypto Morning Show. And we have really good guests, really good moderators, and we just talk about everything that's going on in the crypto space at any given time. And branching off of that, trying to do some consulting work in the space for really helping people understand DeFi now. This wasn't always my realm of expertise, but it seems like I just gravitated to it really easily. And I explain it really well to people. And so some people that I work closely with said I should take that further and offer it as a service. With my morning show and offering, I guess, DeFi as a service, those are my two main focuses right now.
Awesome. Okay. So it sounds like then it kind of boils down to really education, just making sure that people do better. Like not just you, as you were doing with that mining operation, or I guess maybe kind of the way you did with the mining operation. Once you realized that it was good for you, you reached out to people so you could help bring other people up with you. And it sounds like you're trying to do that at a bigger scale.
Exactly. Exactly. Lots of education. And I think that that is the key to the space. It's very hard, I think, for a lot of people to wrap their head around what is going on here. If we can help you in any way, I think that, we want to help explain it to you in terms that you understand and, give you the latest information in a format that makes sense to the average person.
Awesome. Super, super cool. So Erik, I really appreciate you sharing all that with me. We're getting close to the edge of the amount of time that I asked you to give. I don't want to like overstay my welcome here or ask you to stay longer on this call than you have time for. As far as what you're working on right now, what's the best place for people to find you, to find what you're working on, to participate, to contribute, and to benefit from what you're involved in today?
Our website, www.crypto.coffee.com, is the easiest way. It has all the links to our Discord, where we have a really cool community, a lot of how-to guides, other things. You can reach us at any time on there. We also have a Telegram group, all listed on the website. So that'd be the easiest way. And then, of course, there's links there to our Clubhouse channel on Clubhouse, where you'll find us 90% of the time, Monday through Friday, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. We do have that. And that is the easiest way to reach out to.
Awesome. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, you guys experimented at all with this Twitter Spaces thing? It's supposed to be some kind of a competitor to Clubhouse, or are you guys mostly Clubhouse only?
Mostly Clubhouse. We are working on trying to figure out how to stream to both. And we do want to pick up at least one day a week on Twitter Spaces and experiment on all these other platforms that are doing it. It seems like this drop-in audio is not just a one shot. It's all. Everybody is adapting to it. Even Spotify has a green room. So I do want to try that out at some point as well. I just think that you have to adapt to the trend.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, so crypto-coffee.com is the website. Erik Anderson is our esteemed guest. And I just really appreciate your time. Is there anything else, like for somebody who's brand new to the space and is just stumbling across this interview and was like, oh, well, cool, talking to a guy who was a miner, and cryptocurrency seems interesting, and he's wearing that shirt with the coffee mug and the Bitcoin logo. And what's the one thing that you would say to somebody who's just getting started right now, stumbled across this, got this far, and thought, I'm not really involved yet. How do I get involved? How do I move away from my old way of thinking with fiat currencies, US dollars, the traditional finance systems, into some of the track that you've got several years on now? What would they do? How would they get started?
I think the first thing you got to do is read like the book Bitcoin Standard to really get a hold on, hard money economics, what Bitcoin is. And then if you have that good deep foundation, never stop learning, always learning, because this space is ever changing. Like even in 24 hours, things change rapidly in this space. So please just keep learning everything, ask questions, get involved in a community that respects you, and that, you can grow with, that doesn't just run you off for asking dumb questions. I don't think there is any dumb questions in this community, in this whole space. You just have to ask until you understand it. And then if you're somebody like me, get your hands dirty, get yourself like a Raspberry Pi or a Start 9 and get yourself a Bitcoin node, start up that Bitcoin node or an Umbrel node and get Lightning going, just dabble. I think the more you can get your hands on these things and understand it, the easier everything will come, because this is not easy right off the rip. And you have to dabble a little bit to understand.
Awesome. Okay. So the great advice there, Erik. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you being so flexible, but also so generous with your time. I've been on the Crypto and Coffee show numerous times, have guest moderated and facilitated conversations over there. And I can totally attest to what you're saying about communities that are good for new people to be involved in. Part of the reason that I kept going back to Crypto and Coffee, and still occasionally will jump in as I have time early in the mornings, is like you're saying, because of that culture that has a foundation of respect and treating people, not like they should just be groupies or toadies. So that's awesome. Kudos to you for building a culture that strongly supports welcoming new people. It is really second to none as far as that goes, I think, on Clubhouse.
Thanks for that. I do appreciate it. And I hope everybody gets a chance to check it out and experience for themselves.
Well, there you guys have it. That's the end of the show. Check out Crypto and Coffee. Check out the website first, crypto-coffee.com. And if you're on Clubhouse, jump in. It's free. What are you waiting for? It's not gonna hurt anything, right? While you're sipping on that morning cup of Joe, what better thing to do than learn, like Erik has been saying, from people who are established and who won't judge you for having silly questions. Well, appreciate it, guys. Let me roll that outro, guys. Just a reminder, you're the reason I make this media. Love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you want to be notified of videos like this in the future, first off, click subscribe, press the bell icon. Additionally, you can sign up for the Mind Your Biz email newsletter. That'll give you exclusive access to certain freebies, notifications for deals within the cryptocurrency mining space, as well as some of our flash sales for merchandise, which you can buy with cryptocurrency. That's right. It's the only cryptocurrency merch that you can buy with cryptocurrency. We practice what we preach. As always, thank you so much for watching. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face, and I will see you in the next one.